What up guys, Kelvin here, and today we're gonna be looking at what happened at your work caused multiple people to quit their job. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow me on Instagram, KelvinLee1995. And yeah, let's get right in with the show. When I was 16, I worked in a concession stand at a minor league baseball stadium. Minimum wage at the time was $5.15 an hour. This job pays $8 and it was always in the evening, so it was perfect work for a high school student. The only bad thing was our management was terrible. The main manager would throw total tantrums about once a shift over stupid bulls like not ordering enough of the specific beer she did the ordering, or running out of the pre-cut lemons for tea. One night the stadium was running a promotion and it was incredibly busy, easily 2 to 3 times the normal volume of customers. We were all working our behind off, handling multiple roles, each with absolutely no downtime. Although we all clean as we worked, nobody had a chance to do thorough cleaning for the whole shift because of the never-ending horde of hungry baseball fans. The manager showed up 3 to 4 hours late per usual and throws the biggest freaking tantrum ever over the unswept floor. Finally, she announced, "Listen up, you lazy freaks. Minimal work gets minimal pay. Everybody is being paid minimum wage tonight because you slobs won't clean up anything." Oh crap. Owner retired. They were literally the greatest people ever, both very sweet, but kept the place running like a well-oiled machine. They took pretty good care of us and their restaurant. When they left, they gave the restaurant over to their nephew, who at the time was a busboy waiter, kind of a standfish. Didn't really interact with us too much, a bit lazy at times, but for the most part did his job and went home. He seems okay until he got the power of being the owner. He fired 4 people, including 2 of the 4 cooks and 2 of the 3 dishwashers, literally the same day on Friday night just before the dinner rush, all because he didn't like their attitude. He refused to allow people to take vacation that they already requested and gotten confirmed by the original owner. Would change the schedule randomly without telling anyone and then scream at people when they missed a shift or came in late because of it. He refused to replenish the kitchen until we were literally already out of things, then take forever to put in the orders. He sold out randomly and would drink at the bar for free, of course, because he was the owner, and then bring all his buddies to drink with him. Together they get out of hand and grab a woman and try to start fights. Within the first month of him being the owner, over half the staff had quit, usually walking out literally in the middle of the shift. After they being screamed at, they basically throw down their aprons and tell everyone else that they were so sorry that they couldn't do anymore. After the last cook, this big dude who usually kept the kitchen laughing and running at a decent pace, started crying in the middle of his shift and dropped everything he was doing after the boss came in and yelled at him for being too slow and making slop. Then walked out. The rest of us just bailed along with him. 4 months later, the place was closed. His aunt and uncle were absolutely furious and devastated that he run the business they built up for over 30 years into the ground. 30 years, okay? And that dude run the business down in 30 days. Crazy. I was bartending on the side to augment the crap pay I get as a helicopter flight instructor. Worked there for 2 years and I was never late, nor did I have any disciplinary trouble. Well, one day I had a cross-country flight run longer than it should have because I had some maintenance issues. I knew I would be late, so I called and talked to my supervisor to give him a heads up. By the time I made it to work, I was only 20 minutes late. Well, the owner's 23-year-old son managed the place and informed me that his new policy was that I would have to surrender half of my tip for the night as punishment for being late. I told him I didn't think that was very fair, especially since I was only 20 minutes late for a 5-hour shift. I never once been late and I called ahead. He literally said, "Tough crap, don't be late." Man, I would hate to have a manager like that. I told him to go freak himself and walk out. When I told my coworker what happened, 4 other people quit right on the spot because they had enough of the dude's power tripping bulls. Don't play with people's hard-earned money, okay? If you are the manager, doesn't mean you can just take other people's money. The boss went off on a tirade on me for something that wasn't my fault, and I got him to scream, "People like you are expendable piece in this country, and I can replace you tomorrow if I want to." 80% of the engineers quit the next day. Simply doesn't show up, including me. From what I know, the entire project folded because my now ex-boss couldn't find people to replace us because no one wanted to do the kind of work he was looking for at the salary he was paying. Be nice to your employees, okay? They're not robots. Pay them well and feed them good, and they will lead you to victory. Cancel all raises and bonuses for everyone except the CEO, his wife, financial and HR, and his son. Utterly useless IT in a year where we have record profit and brought in almost double the client on top of announcing they aren't looking to hire more people when we were already overwhelmed. Good part about it was when the majority of us quit, they lost almost every single client shortly afterwards to their competitors, and the company is now defunded. Man, I just don't understand companies, okay? If you're making record profits, just give like maybe 1% to the employee for their hard work. That is just not too much to ask. Many years ago in high school, I worked at a movie theater. The place was pretty poorly run from the moment I started there. We never got paid on time, and management was basically a bunch of lazy jack who sit in the office talking all day and never actually did anything managing. It would have been hard for things to have gotten any worse, but after a couple of months, they brought in new management who seems to want to make it their personal mission to run the theater as poorly as possible. Ooh, that sounds very bad. They first decided to implement a new policy requiring all projectionists to wear ties, despite the fact that projectionists are never seen by the public. Not to mention that tiny little details that the projectionists work around giant, rapidly spinning objects that a tie could get caught in. Management refused to reconsider the policy, and every single projectionist quit as a result. They then decided that the door people, of which I was one, who were always scheduled 7 days a week, would now only be scheduled on the weekends, and refused to reassign any of us to the concession on the weekdays, so we went lost hours. As a result, almost every single door person quit, including me. After that, they started imposing impossible cleanliness standards on concessions, things like requiring them to scrape popcorn kernels out of the crack in the trim behind the popcorn machine. Concessions was there until 5 a.m. every night trying to meet their standards. Most of the concession people quit as a result. By my count, the theater went from a staff of about 50 to a staff of about 12 in 3 weeks. Wow. I swung by about a month after I quit and find out the entire management staff had been fired and replaced yet again by an entirely new one. Ones who actually seem to be running the theater properly. My best guess is that the previous management had been told to whip the theater into shape, and they were idiots who had no idea how to effectively do that. These management people sounds like they do not understand the industry, okay, they're working at. You gotta understand it to be able to manage it well. Both of our bartenders in the bar back quit on the spot, which caused a chain reaction. We all took off our aprons and hats to leave. She blocked the exit and was red in the face from screaming, so one of the cooks climbed out of one of the big serving windows where we serve customers. So I did the same, and most of the staff followed. Bear in mind that this all happened in front of like 200 customers. Of course, my final paycheck got lost, so I had to file a wage theft complaint with the Texas Workforce Commission. Wow, that is one crazy story right there. Oh freaking boy. I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings for a few years as a line cook. 2 different stores, same freaking. It was the type of work where you ask for a raise and they scoff and say, yeah, me too. Anyways, I had been pretty dead set on quitting sooner or later. Our kitchen was very small. Most people end up closing 4 to 5 days a week with doubles on the weekends, while still attending school full time as it was a college town. On Super Bowl freaking Sunday, a useless coworker who dug out in the bathroom most of the shift finally stopped sewing, and in response the managerial staff dedicated closing to my pal Jay. Dude was a freaking delight to be around, hands down the best coworker ever. Jay had been told that due to being a full-time student, he no longer wanted to be the first and last out, 4 p.m. till 12 a.m., 1 a.m. on the weekends. They basically told him to go frick himself and that they don't have any more shift for him. Immediately, me and the one other cook walked out to the office and quit on the spot. Buffalo Wild Wings lost 4 cooks on Super Bowl Sunday, leaving them with 7 full-time students on the schedule so it was a managerial crap. So wow, man, I'll be stressed the heck out because it's Super Bowl Sunday. You need all the workers. I was hired by the new owner to replace the existing manager. I was under the impression that he was moving to another job somewhere. So after about 4 days, I asked him where is he headed and if he is excited. He just looked blatantly at me and says, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just training you as an assistant manager, right? The look I gave him must have been a great tip off because he got up and walked into one of the new owner's office. After about 30 seconds, they were screaming at each other. Then he just stormed out of the office, grabbed his stuff, gave me the finger and leaves. Over the next few days, I'm trying to calm things with the employees. They are not faulting me, but now have a very bad taste in their mouth about the new ownership. Over about a 7 to 10 days time period, my team shrank from 15 people down to 3. I hobbled along with the best I could while we tried to hire new people, but the new owner were offering so little we had trouble finding people. After 3 months or so of that, I started to get fed up and overwhelmed, and the owner started to get on me about missing deadlines. After 3 months or so of that, I started to get fed up and overwhelmed, and when the owner started to get on me about missed deadlines, I had it. We were still only at 5 people, 2 of which were brand new and still training. They didn't allow me to refuse work or push deadlines out. They expect the same output as a 15-person team. So after my 3rd day in a row of being barricaded for missing the deadline that was impossible to make, I quit. Good for you, okay? I think this is a right choice. You're doing not 2 but 15 people's of work. You are doing it all by yourself. That is crazy. We're at Wendy's and one of the regional managers started running a store because they weren't find a new manager to replace the old ones. Well, anyway, this guy practically runs the place into the ground. Before he started running the store, most everyone liked working there as it was a good environment. A few months after, a couple of people quit because of him, and one day I rolled in at 9 to help open the store and he came out to my car as soon as I parked. I was 15 minutes early and usually just sit in my car until 9 and tells me, hey, I needed to start early because the 3 openers just quit on me. We managed to get the store open and had a number of people from other stores help run the place until the people from the next shift came in. A couple days later, I heard the full story of what happened from a coworker. The regional manager is supposed to be at the store at 7 or so and the openers 30 minutes later. He didn't actually show up until 8:30. So when the opener, already pissed at being at work really early and not being on the clock, saw the regional manager roll in and knew it was gonna be an awful shift, all decided that they were done with him and just quit right there. So at least 6 people quit because of him by the time I left the place. Regional manager show up late to work. Man, you should not have that title anymore. I did landscape constructions. The cheap art owner kept taking bigger and bigger projects while never hiring more help. We were all overwhelmed, stressed, and anxious as heck. One of our foremen quit and I followed suit a few days later. 2 more guys quit the next day. He was down to 3 guys for the obscene amount of work he wanted to do. Of course, everything get way behind schedule, but he is convinced it's not his fault at all. He went out of business less than a year later. I was working for a very large IT company. Before the tech bubble burst, we had a meeting with our new director and the vice president. They were tired of people complaining about things that should be changed at the job and how they manage people. So they sat around 200 of us down in our auditorium, and the director said she didn't want to hear any more complaints on how she was running things, and if we didn't like them, there was the door, and that there was no way we'd leave such a great job. Well, there was a mass exodus and probably close to 50 people left within 2 months. She and the vice president were reorganized and given 0 reports. They were gone after a round of layoff happened shortly after. You don't just tell the employee that, oh, this is a great company, you're not gonna leave us. They will, okay? At one of my old jobs, new management took over and she was just awful. She stripped me of a promotion that the previous manager gave me and I worked my arse off for. Put trainees on long doing a holiday, just a whole bunch of crap. Like 5 of us got together after the final straw and quit together. Tattoo shop owner who lived in another state hired some butthole to come revamp the shop. I have been managing for 3 years at this point and he just expect me to teach him how to do my job so he can replace me. That guy had no clue how to run a shop. Plus, the owner had been embezzling money for her cart habit and had blamed the longest standing artist at the shop for her lost revenue. Accused of him stealing, I did the books. No one was stealing. She was nuts. Filed the complaint, submitted my clock in, and clock out receipt for the week. We got paid weekly and previous pay stub to verify my pay rate. After like 3 weeks, I was contacted by the person handling my claim that my previous employer had mailed me a check for the whole amount I was owed plus a penalty. The check arrived within a few days. The penalty was $25. Later that year, the same employer refused to provide my W-2 for tax filing, so I filed a complaint with the IRS and used my pay stub for a special form to complete my taxes. I used to work at McDonald's and we had terrible manager who hate a lot of people working there. Everyone else hated him too, but no one else wanted to call him out on his job and quit. I was the first one to do it because I requested 2 weeks off in August of that year, about 3 months in advance. My family likes to plan our summer vacation early on. When August came around, he had my schedule set out for all of August except for those specific 2 weeks. There was no way that he could have misinterpreted my request. When I got my schedule, I stormed into the restaurant, called him out on everything, and then quit on the spot. About 2 weeks after that, I heard from one of my work friends that 5 other people had enough and quit as well. I kind of felt good to be the first. Yes, you did. I bet everyone wanted to quit so bad, but they don't have the guts, but you're the first one to do it. Alright guys, this is about the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell notification so you know when I post new videos. And make sure to hit me out on Instagram, link will be in the description below. And yeah, my name is Calvin and I'll see you guys next video.